Hi, welcome to Scion Mastery's talk on how to survive in quarantine and trying to survive university life living online. My name is Dennis. I have worked at Santander for a few years now. I work as a software developer. Previously, I was a consultant here at Angloslav, and I'm very familiar with the sort of situation that's going on around. I've worked from home for quite a while now, being a software developer, so I'm very familiar with how a lot of the students will be feeling at the moment. Firstly, I'd like to say that this is happening and this is not about you. Let's take an example. 2 weeks from now on, you are feeling ill, you are not feeling great, you have a cough, you're sweaty, you go to the doctors and you find out that you have corona. Now, whilst you're young, this doesn't mean very much for you. You're going to spend maybe a week in bed and you will survive because you're young and invincible. But all the people who you have encountered for the past 2 weeks, all the times you went to spin class, all the time you went to the pubs, the bars, you have potentially infected them. And that could include elderly people as well who have been struggling with heart disease. Now, because of you and your own selfishness, you have now caused them real complications and it could potentially have ended their lives. So this is serious and it's not about you. Just be responsible and do as you're asked. So now, on to the fun stuff. How to survive living and working from home. Studying online is really difficult. I have taken a few courses online and it's seriously difficult to continue to keep yourself motivated and not have yourself being distracted from Netflix, from YouTube, from any other social media, just because sometimes it's far more interesting. And I'm sure listening to me talk is also not the highlight, but it's important and we should discuss it. Speaking about your lectures, it's vital that you do attend all of your university lectures. They will be monitored, so your presence is necessary. Your participation is also necessary. Why do I say it's important? Mainly because universities will still be monitoring your attendance. If you are an international student, your attendance, as you know, is important for your visa. Furthermore, nobody really knows the situation, what's happening with exams, which means that it could be that universities will actually just take your participation and your appearance and how often you have come online as an actual grade for you. So with regards to this, make sure that you have access to your portal, to your email, to any resources that your university provided for you, and make sure that you're actually scheduled in and actually participate. It doesn't really matter where in the world you are. If you have a 9 a.m. lecture in London, then you need to be present for that 9 a.m. lecture. There are really no excuses as to why you can't make it because we're all working online. So get it done. The important thing also to remember is to actually keep sane and to keep fit, which means that you should, as advised for our generation, for young students and for elderly people, is to have at least half an hour of exercise, between half an hour to 1 hour. You can do indoor exercises. There are lots of YouTube videos that you can watch on yoga or find a new passion for yourself and try new activities, but make sure that you actually keep fit and it will help you motivate yourself and keep sane at the same time. Yeah. Oh, also go to parks. What is happening with exams? So I wanted to take a little moment and discuss what's happening with your exams. So as far as all the universities have posted, there will be online exams happening, which means that you'll most likely be taking exams online. There are some universities that are offering a different type of assessment. So in the sense that if they are not offering online exams, then you will maybe have a take-home assessment, or they will maybe potentially give you marks based upon your previous attendance and participation in class, or based upon your previous coursework. So it's really important that you have quite a good track record of actually attending lectures and participating as well, just in case your university decides to base your grade upon that, which they can do. All group work has to continue in the same sort of fashion. It should be now a lot easier for you guys to actually communicate with each other. There shouldn't be too much of an excuse as to I can't get hold of Alice or Jamie because they are far away, or there's no real reason for you guys to be having to meet up in person anyways. So it's really important that you continue to get that group work done and make sure that you actually contribute as much as you can. There's no more trying to shy away and not really participate in that sort of group work already. So With the way that exams will be conducted, since they are being conducted online, there are going to be plagiarism measures which will take place. We have already seen some universities and some exam centers use facial recognition software where they will actually check where you're looking, and they can actually use that software to identify a lot of emotions that you're going through. So if you're happy, sad, angry, this software is actually really quite progressive and really effective as well, and accurate. There are also measures for once you start the examination, your entire screen will be monitored. So as if you decide to go off onto and open up a new window and try to get Google up or use a calculator on your computer, they will be able to see this, and this will be recorded, and you will most likely fail the exam due to plagiarism. I'm sure everybody knows what the consequences are of plagiarism, so I won't go into too much detail about those, but long story short, you will get, well, you'll get a null and potentially expelled as well. If you're unwell, now if you just have the flu, then you are still expected to attend lectures, as this is not you being unable to get out of bed and come into university. This isn't you being too feverish. This is actually genuinely you're still at home. You might have the flu, but you're still expected to actually participate and attend all your lectures. If you're actually incapable of doing that, then it sounds like you have something really seriously wrong with you, in which case obviously go to the doctors, get a doctor's note, and hopefully come back to health really soon. Make sure that you're organized in your timetable and your schedule. Make sure you know when, what times your lectures are and what times you're actually going to work. It's really key to keep a diary here, and it's really key to maintain a certain level of standard here. So make sure you schedule time for breaks, make sure you schedule time for exercise, and more importantly, also make sure you schedule all the right time that you need for your studies. If you need the additional extra tutors, make sure that you actually get them at a certain time, because with time difference, with so many people doing this online, tutors are actually really high in demand. And if you are struggling or if you are unable to keep up with certain lectures, then your tutors will be able to help. Having that said, make sure that you actually follow the lectures and do not rely on just your tutors to do all the work for you, because they do not know all the curriculums, and you might find yourself that they don't know, and then you're stuck and you will get a shitty piece of coursework or a shitty grade, and that will be on you. So actually get yourself a little bit organized and get out of the way. Do not treat this as a holiday. The main reason I say to not treat this as a holiday is because with all of this online learning and working from home, a lot of companies will be actually looking at how they can continue to utilize this technology in the future, especially if this is proven to be a success. As a student, it's beneficial for you to prove that you can actually be relied upon and you can actually be self-sustaining. When I say this from a working perspective, a lot of companies now have people working online. This means that if this is a success, they don't necessarily need to have employees in just London where the wages are higher. They can also hire people who are from cheap labor countries, so from India or USSR, which means now that when you're going into a job position, if the job is a remote working position and that's capable of you, you have actually a whole lot more competition now. What I'm trying to say is that now we have the opportunity to prove to employees and schools that we're able to work online, that we're able to actually be self-reliant, and that we can be dependent upon. This now changes the climate for our future occupations and future jobs. If you are for some reason struggling, I could recommend a few books for you to read. There's a good book called So Good You Can't Ignore You. They Can't Ignore You. So Good They Can't Ignore You. It's a terrific book, and I highly recommend it to students who are actually looking to differentiate themselves and how to actually stand out, especially when looking at job positions in the future. So, on a final note, I think that this is a terrific actually opportunity for you to look at all the courses, additional things that you could potentially be wanting to study further on, or even where you want to work. I know that Scion and Angloslav creates your personalized own career paths, and I think this is a great opportunity for you to build towards those. You now have more free time to actually focus on these things, and trust me, if you do take a few hours a day, it will pay off massively in the future. any sort of additional courses that you think that you could be interested in, or even trying to do it. If you're interested in finances, check out the CFA. If you're interested in software development, try to learn some coding online. There is a plethora of resources out there. If you need some more advice, we'll be happy to help you. Get in touch with us, and I'm sure that we can help you out in any way that we think is I'm sure that we can help you out in any way that is feasible. On that note, I'd like to say thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a happy quarantining, and see you guys soon once this crisis is over. Thank you very much. I also want to mention that there is a life after university, and there is a life after this crisis. It's important that you actually use this time to do some soul searching and actually find out what it is that you'd love to get more involved in. I could highly recommend some charity work, or even if you want to find some internships where you could be getting involved in, I would highly recommend these things. Essentially, there's only so much time you can spend playing like FIFA or any video games, and there's only so much Netflix content out there before you are essentially turned into a couch and just do nothing with your lives. I have seen this happen to a lot of students. I have seen people get depressed. I have seen people not really finding a purpose for themselves. Make sure that you're not one of these. Make sure that you actually use this time in a positive way to find out what you actually want to do with your life. And if you keep telling me you don't know what you want to do with your life, the answer is not playing video games and Netflixing all day long. If you are struggling for ideas of where to start soul searching, or where to even start looking into what you would like to do, I would recommend speaking to a coach. I know Angloslav has many that they can recommend. There's also a lot of great books out there, and I'll be happy to share with you my recommendations for top 5 books. It's quite difficult to find what you're passionate about without actually trying to do something. Having said that, whilst you're in quarantine, you actually have the opportunity to learn something new and to see what you'd actually be interested in doing, and to see the sort of impact that that has upon society. If you want to see real value that you give back, then these are the kind of jobs that you might be looking into. So as I mentioned before, charity work, or if you want to go into investments, then you can actually see and feel what kind of impact you have on the job that you're going to be doing in the future. I just wanted to make another comment on if you are finding yourself that you're struggling in university, or you found that you are not enjoying your course, or you want to swap, this is now the best time for you to actually look further into this. This is a great time for you to actually think about what's been going wrong or what's been going right in your career, like in your university career at the moment, and find out why you think that you're not enjoying university, find the reason why you're not enjoying your course, and actually find out what you do want to do in the future. This is really important for you to find out now, and this is such a great opportunity for you to take this chance and to really think about yourself and to think about what you want to achieve in the future and where you want to be. The reality is that most of the time our hobbies are not the things that give us money. So as much as I love to game myself and play football, I know that I am not going to be a footballer in the future, or even a rugby player, or a gamer for that fact. But I know what I'm good at, and I know that I'm good at software. So I know that this is the things that's going to bring me money. You need to find out and identify what is your actual true skill and what you are good at and what you can be good at. So I highly advise for you to take this time, search for this, find it. If you're really struggling with this, talk to Angloslav and Scion. They will be able to help you out. And all the best. I also want to mention for third-year university students, unfortunately, you've been hit pretty hard by this. This has affected you quite a lot. We don't really know in terms of how you're going to be graded at the end and what your final mark will be, whether it's going to be a 2-1 or a first, or if you've messed around for the first 2 years, then you could potentially be finishing on the third. As it stands, right now is a great time for you to be continuing to applying for jobs. It's a great time for you to continue to be in close contact with your career coaches, with Angloslav or Scion, and keep like a really close relationship with them to actually figure out what you can do next and what your opportunities are going forward. Final notes, I just wanted to say, keep track of this channel. Scion Mastery and Angloslav will be posting daily updates and encouragement notes, and basically just tips and advice on how to survive in this kind of crisis. So yeah, follow their social media, get in touch, and be proactive.